Hey there. Hope everybody's doing good. It's Amanda Dodd from Healing Beyond Trauma, which is clinical hypnotherapy and transpersonal coaching. And I wanted to pop on and talk a little bit about some stuff coming up. It's going to be pretty good. Hope to give you guys some real tools and techniques to navigate your holiday just a little more comfortably. So, if you haven't heard, Liv Kennedy and I from Centerpeace Yoga and Wellness are going to be doing a free live event on Facebook. That's coming up on January the 8th. And what we're going to do is just get together and work on releasing some of the holiday tension, the pent up stress that happens, every time we're just doing too much, right? So I thought I'd hop on here today, and instead of letting you guys go into your holiday and then showing up for our event already pretty burnt out and stressed and trying to recoup, I thought I'd hop on here and just give you guys a couple of pre-holiday tips to navigate things a little more smoothly. This year, things are different. We've come through COVID, and I've noticed in a lot of my hypnotherapy clients, the bandwidth is just not the same. So I don't know if you've noticed this in yourself. I've witnessed it in myself, but our tolerance has changed. Our threshold for what we're able to do in a day, how much social interaction we can kind of stomach and manage has really sort of decreased. And I think a lot of people noticed it most when they started going back to work, when the physical demands started to pick up and just becoming aware within their system of having that change. So I don't know if you've identified that for yourself, or if you've seen it even in other people that you love or care about. But when we went through the lockdowns and all of the things that happened, it changed us fundamentally, especially those who suddenly needed to work from home, who weren't physically leaving, or people who were unfortunate and lost their jobs and were just home for that time. We had the big changes to routine. And then what happens is, I think a lot of us kind of adjusted and adapted. As humans, we're so amazing. We're able to adjust and adapt almost to anything, just very smoothly, very quickly. And sometimes it happens so fast and we don't even notice. And that's kind of wild, isn't it? That we can just adjust like that and not fully notice or be aware of those changes. So I'd like to drop in and kind of bring that awareness to you guys so that you're able to recognize it for yourself, to begin to make some choices as you do things. So I don't know about you or your history or what things have been like there, but I know that for myself, I wasn't necessarily handed a rule book when I was born of, hey, Amanda, as you grow, make sure you engage in every single holiday and social event. This is going to be a requirement, and if you don't do this, you're going to fail the grade. I didn't get that book. Did you? Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think anybody got that book. And I think sometimes when we have great things like the holiday season, we forget and we think that we have to show up for every single event, every single thing. The have to list suddenly grows to a point that can be really overwhelming, especially if you're not comfortable with strengthening your no and setting some healthy boundaries, being aware of what your bandwidth is. And that can be a different kind of bandwidth. That can be a spiritual, energetic, it can be physical, it might be mental or emotional bandwidth, right? So just check in and have that little bit of awareness of, hey, what do I actually have the attention span, the energy, the mojo, you know, whatever you want to call it for yourself so that you can relate to it. How much do I actually have? Carolyn Miss, who is a favorite teacher of mine, talks about energy bucks. Every day you are given 100 energy dollars. If you're doing various activities, you're spending as you go, at what point do you need to begin to pump the brakes before you go in the red? And often we do in the holiday. We are doing 2 and 3 parties in a very short amount of time, and it's kind of a lot. You know, especially people who have multiple families doing Christmas, going to their in-laws, going to their own families, and then maybe having a more personal Christmas at home or any kind of holiday that you're celebrating. And it's quite a bit. So we're talking about a holiday season where people already have reduced tolerance, who are potentially having a little more anxiety or stress already, and what it looks like and feels like. So for me, when I think of burnout, I feel like burnout comes from overdoing what we believe we have to versus what your spirit wants to. And so if you're doing what you think you have to, and it's not what your spirit wants to, and you're subjecting yourself to this over and over again, that's when you start to go into the red in your energy account. And that's when burnout starts to happen. And burnout can be physical, but it can also be at the level of spirit, and just not having that spiritual bandwidth. So before you begin to go to all of the holiday parties and things that are coming up, check in with yourself. Do I have the bandwidth for this? And it can actually be really open. You can really kind of navigate and explore, you know, yeah, I would enjoy that. I think I'd only like to go for half an hour. I'd like to show up. I'd love to give some people a hug and a kiss hello. And then I'd like to go and let that, you know, kind of be okay. Another place we can begin to tread into burnout is if we've got perfectionist tendencies, wanting to either facilitate the kind of fairy tale for little children, you know, so kind of perpetuating all of the magic and the wonder of Christmas and trying to have everything be perfect and not really sustainable or human or realistic. And sometimes I think we do kids a great disservice, especially during the holidays, because they grow up watching their parents go into the busy, into the chaos, into trying to make everything just right. And sometimes the connection gets lost. And then these kids grow up with that model of, oh, that's what the holidays are. I'm an adult now. I have to do the busy. I have to be overwhelmed. And I don't know about you, but as a kid, I remember watching the Rice Krispie holiday commercials, and the mother would come out of the kitchen with like flour on her forehead, just saying, you know, like she's slaved all day to make this little treat for her family. So having awareness of what we're doing, how we're doing it, why we're doing it, and then what legacy are you passing on to your children when the holiday season is meant to be a time of connection and not necessarily a time of busyness. So check in with yourself, see what your bandwidth is, make decisions based on that. If it happens and you do end up pushing yourself way too hard, know that Centerpeace Yoga and Wellness, myself and Liv, will be having that event for you to help you reduce and release the burnout that's happened. So we've got you covered if you fall into it. It is a hard habit to break because you're going against things that are kind of expectations and social norms. And sometimes you might be afraid potentially that if you don't do these things, you'll be less loved. Maybe you might worry that someone might not like you as much or accept you. And those are hard things to kind of confront and to face. And just know that if you don't have the bandwidth to do all the things and you begin to say no, there could be some of that challenge. There could be some of that vulnerability that may come up for you, and that's perfectly okay. So know that you've got choices. Um, and when you're saying, I have to, I have to, I have to, ask yourself, do I really? Do I really have to? What would happen if I only do a portion? What would happen if I show up to this event? I don't stay for the whole thing. I only do an hour. Worst case scenario, right? And I think what you'll find is those people that really love you and care about your well-being, they'll understand, and they may just be bumping up to the same thing also, of feeling a little overwhelmed, getting into that holiday seasonal stress and feeling that discomfort. Maybe some people whose parties you're attending are having the party because they too feel they have to. And maybe their bandwidth isn't for the whole party either. So maybe try to bring in some compassion and just some gentleness and love for yourself there in that regard. Other things to think about: your own needs before you go out there in the world and you're making yourself fit for human consumption. Make sure that you are fit for human consumption. Try to be getting a good sleep during the holidays, especially if you're going to be delving into treats. If you live a typical lifestyle, I myself, I like to be keto most of the time. If you're going off your lifestyle, you're changing a lot of your structure, and you still want to be at your best, just be aware that if you make those choices and changes, there might be some fallout, there might be some consequence. And so in order to be fit for human consumption, just do your best to support yourself. Give yourself a good start with healthy food, with a good rest. Meet your emotional needs. If you're tired, remember to delegate, ask other people to help. I know that especially as women, that can be hard. We're used to kind of taking it on and sometimes being stoic and being like, oh, I got this. My mother and my mother's mother did this, and I definitely can do this, and I'm gonna measure up. You don't have to. You're not less just because you may choose to do less or to not engage in certain things. So afford yourself a little bit of kindness there, and that's going to help you to sustain your energy and to not go so far into the holiday burnout. And who knows, at that point, maybe you'll be able to actually enjoy the holiday more, have more joy because you're being more present. And those are the kind of presents that I think more and more of us need and like to receive. So that's something that I wish for you. Another thought, real quick. Yeah. So an author I recently was recommended was Tosha Silver, and she's got this beautiful concept in her book called It's Not Your Money. And the concept is creating a God box. And anything that feels too overwhelming, is upsetting, you don't quite know what to do with, literally write it down, put it in the God box. This could be a mason jar. It could be a jewelry box. It can be anything. It could be an old cookie tin from your grandmother, if those are still around. And it doesn't matter. It is the act of resolving to, okay, I'm going to do my best with this, and then I'm going to hand over the rest. And if you're able to start beginning to engage in that way with yourself, you're going to just find that your self-compassion begins to grow, that you're going to be a lot easier on yourself and feel more acceptance and love. And again, that leads to more presence, you being more present for yourself, being more present to others. So hopefully some of these tips have helped you out. And And I know that Liv and I will connect again and soon, and we'll probably hop on and do another live and see how you guys are coming through your holiday. Try to just set yourself up for success. Don't take on more than you have to. And if it feels like you have to, ask yourself, do I really? Do I need to? Can I do it in a certain degree? Problem solve it, make it more comfortable and realistic and feasible. And if you happen to fall down or stumble and you end up with holiday burnout, no shame, no blame. Come see Liv and I on our free event January 8th. You can find the event on the Centerpeace Yoga and Wellness Facebook page. And we'll help you back up. We'll help you release some of the holiday burnout, stress, and tension with some hypnotherapy, some education, and also a little bit of breath work and grounding. Hopefully you sail through your holidays peacefully with love, with compassion, and with everything that you feel you need. Lots of good wishes for you. Bye.